Hi, my name is Diego and I want to thank you for joining us. In this video, I would like to help you play the song Deck the Halls, and at the same time, this is a sample of our holiday piano course. So if you want to check that out, check the description of this video for a link, and at the same time, let's go to a close-up of the piano so we can get started with that tutorial. 1, 2, 3, 4. On this video, I'd like to help you play Deck the Halls. It's, of course, very traditional piece of music for the holidays. And one thing that I like is to show you directly things that I see with a lot of students almost getting confused and making it different. So let's start with the right hand. The right hand, very important here to follow the numbers that you're going to have on the paper. This one is one of those that the numbers are really, really important to be able to play it faster. And I played it there like medium tempo, but it should go probably a little bit faster if you want to play it, I guess, for your family or for your holiday parties. So here I would suggest that keep an eye for eighth notes. So for example, like the second note, that F is a short note. So you have that first note as a dotted quarter note, which is a little bit longer, 1 and 2 and 3. So it's almost important to make sure that you're doing that note, that F, short. And so on the third measure, when you do this little run, also make sure that that goes faster. So this is a little bit of a play between quarter notes and eighth notes. So when you play the first line, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. So there it's very important to start making those differences with the pacing, because a lot of people do this and almost play all of the notes like if it was the same speed, and it just sounds pretty bizarre. So try to make sure that you don't do that. Now, the second thing that I see a lot of issues with on this first line is that when you do the ending, which is the ending on the first line, make sure that you press this B with your finger 2. You're crossing over so you don't lose the position. So 2, 1, 2, 1. And that's important to probably practice. So a couple of little things that you can practice probably 5 to 10 times. This run. And again. Until like your fingers are very clear. And then also this. Again. So that is a big part of like the biggest thing that I see people like messing up. We'll talk a little bit on line 3, which is probably the most challenging part of the piece. But here, important to when you put it with 2 hands, it's not particularly challenging. Of course, go slower when you're doing it with 2 hands for the first time. Take your time. Make sure that the pacing of the notes is correct, and so on. And also make sure that the notes that are supposed to go together, for example, D, those 2 together, B by itself, this 3 together. So that's also critical to make it sound the same. The good news is lines 1 and 2 are identical, so it's the same thing. So you're just going to play that twice. Now, when we get to line 3, and this is where we get a little bit into issues with some of the students that we have. One of the things, and you by now hopefully have learned or know about a C major scale. A C major scale is 1, 2, 3, and then we take our finger 1, which is the thumb, cross under and over to do F with finger 1, 2 on G, 3 on A, 4 on B, and 5 on C. And why am I showing you that? Why am I showing you that? Because you can actually use that on this piece. That same positioning of the fingers, that same fingerings. So I would suggest probably practicing a C major scale, slowly, steady. Up and down, because we're absolutely going to use that same idea here. Now, when I play it, make sure that the eighth notes, the one that have a little thing that looks like a flag on the note, it's shorter, so it sounds D, E, F, D, then E, F, G, D. Very important to make sure that that E, the second one, and the F on the third line are short. Now here is where it changes. You're gonna practice this. You're gonna do finger 1 on E, and then finger 3 on E, finger 1 on F, and 2 on G, like the major scale. And then 3, 4, 5 on A, B, C. And this is a high C. So once again. And I would suggest practicing directly this little section. many times. You can even repeat it as a loop. Because that's the biggest part that everyone gets confused on. So if I play the whole line slowly, D, E, E, D, E, F, G, D, and here, switch your position. So once you have that, putting it together with the left hand may be a little bit challenging because there's a couple of extra notes, especially when you're doing here, you're doing C, F, then D, and then G. So all of this, of course, is going to take time, so it's important to repeat it and to be patient with those repetitions. It does come with time, but you don't want to play the whole thing. You want to just take little sections. For example, like I think this is actually the hardest part. So it's absolutely normal to do that 20, 30, 40 times in a row just to really get it under your fingers. Now the last line, and we'll cover it fairly quickly, is this part is the same. And there's a little change here. Move all of your hand, your right hand, to the right and put your pinky on A and do this. And then you're just going to cross over to not do two notes with the same finger. In this case would be one. So 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cross over to that too. So it's a pretty piece, and I do think that I see a lot of people struggle, especially it's one of those that to play it fast and make it sound correct, it's challenging here on this third line. So just be patient. A lot of people, it's almost like I know you know how it sounds. So when you start practicing, a lot of people they want to make it sound quickly. They want to make it sound how they have heard it. But it's important to practice first steady and with the correct fingers. So if you need to do, it's absolutely okay to do that in order to do the process correctly and be able to play this properly, so that way you can enjoy it with your family and friends. So if you're interested in our holiday piano course, that's 9 tutorials with the sheet music and some play-alongs. Check the description of this video for a link so you can get more information. Happy holidays!